Good morning, everyone. My name is Mia Boaridzi. I'm head of corporate development and investor relations at Puma Exploration. I'm here to kind of echo and talk about a little bit what the first session was talking about, these little-known stories that are going to make it big. And this is one of them, and one of the investments from Crescat Capital, actually, very early stage exploration. So what Puma is doing and what our objective is to build a gold camp in New Brunswick. New Brunswick hasn't been a place that's been known for gold exploration. Some of you might know Eastern Canada, Atlantic provinces, the focus was very much on base metals, but there's been a whole new look at it now, and we're the major player in New Brunswick, and we think that this will go to production eventually, but still super early days. Forward-looking statements, of course. So why invest in Puma? We've made a great gold discovery. We drilled 5 grams per ton gold over 50 meters in 2021. We've only done 15,000 of meters so far of drilling, but what we see is really high-grade gold at surface in quartz veins, free gold, no refractories, easy recovery. We've done initial met tests that's recovered 92% gold with gravity alone. So in terms of permitting, which is what we were just talking about, very quick, no environmental impact. We have the support from the local communities. We have First Nation support. Great location. We're right near a major thoroughfare in New Brunswick. Our staff is housed in St. Quentin, which is a small town. Everything's there, hardware store, restaurants, so really quite good and lots of upside potential. So we've had some experts look at our mineralogy, looking at our alteration signatures, and it looks like it's a Fosterville type deposit, lots of similarities to the Sunday Creek deposit in Australia, so lots of opportunities to really expand and extend it, and we don't only have one, we potentially have many. So here it is where we are, as you can see, in New Brunswick. Same geology. And why is New Brunswick all of a sudden in the kind of in the focus and in the media is that when you look at the new discoveries in Newfoundland, you look at what Newfound Gold is doing, Marathon Gold is doing, they're all underlain by the same geology that goes from Northern Ireland all the way to the Carolinas. And there's been multi-million ounce deposits there that some of them are still in exploration phase, some of them are going into production. So we knew that there was potential for us to also switch our focus from base metals because Puma has been working in this area for over 15 years, but the focus of the company beforehand was base metals. And it's really in the 2019 or so when the focus kind of shifted, when there was the big discoveries in Newfoundland, then we saw an opportunity kind of shift focus, and we made this. A prospector came to us with a grab sample from a cliff that returned 50 grams per ton gold, and said, okay, there's something there, and that's what started it all. So as I mentioned, great location. We're in Northern New Brunswick. We're about 160 kilometers from Bathurst, so big deep water seaport there, 30 kilometers from St. Quentin, which is where we house our technical staff, where we have our core shack. So the project is only about 30 kilometers from that facility. Our exploration right now, you see that big major road, it used to be called the Highway to the Resources. We're drilling 2 kilometers from it, so easy access. Our focus, we have over 60,000 hectares of potential gold-bearing land. Our focus is very much on the Williams Brook Gold Project, and that's about 45,000 hectares. And really, our focus is on the Williams Brook property that you see there, which is the biggest land package. But as you see on the map, past producing mines in the region as well that were base metal. So the familiarity with the industry, the support is there. There is, labor that is well trained as well. And I must say, New Brunswick is hoping that this goes into production because they're desperate for an operating mine. We also, as opposed to what was said before in terms of permitting, New Brunswick is fabulous. We applied for a bulk sample permit. We got it in 3 weeks. So things are going to happen pretty quickly once we define a resource there. The thought is that that gets done relatively quickly. You can see some of the blue outlines of properties there is, as I mentioned before, our focus was in base metals before. When we made the switch, we decided to spin off our properties to another company called Canadian Copper. So Canadian Copper was listed last year. It's on the CSE as CCI. So we have a benefit. We have exposure now to base metals and copper because we're the biggest shareholder of CCI. So their success, of course, means success to us because we have about 13% share ownership, and then we can sell the shares to get some money to do some of our exploration without having to dilute. So this is kind of the Williams Brook Gold Project, and you can see here on this VTEM map what the potential and possibilities are. So there are hundreds of different gold showings on this property. Our focus is very much on Williams Brook. I don't know, do I have a pointer in here? No, you can see some of there's a bigger star there where we drilled the 5 grams per ton over 50 meters. That's our Lynx Gold Zone, which is where we're doing most of our work. But you can see that there's a trend from the Lynx Gold Zone that extends about 12 kilometers. And we've made other discoveries along that. So there's an opportunity to extend along strike that discovery. Plus, there's 2 other gold zones that we discovered to the northeast of it, about 4 kilometers and 5 kilometers, the Jaguar Gold Zone and the Lynx Gold Zone that I'll speak about later on. But you can see there's lots for us to look at. So huge blue sky potential here. Our issue right now, and the problem is, where do we focus? So we've decided to focus on the Lynx Gold Zone, but perhaps that won't be the richest spot. For the time being, that's where we're spending our money, and that's where we're kind of learning and going to school and figuring out what our model is. And the thought is that we develop the model there, and then we apply it to other parts of the property. So this gives you a sense on the upper image there. You can get a sense of what it looks like. New Brunswick is great because there's very little overburden. We have about 3 feet of gravel that we can just bulldoze out of the way and expose these quartz veins. So as I mentioned, high-grade gold in these quartz veins that are visible at surface. So we can map, we can figure out what the structures are. We're never drilling blind, which means that we have a high rate of success in our drilling. We're not wasting money trying to figure out where these quartz veins are going because we know exactly where they are. We can visually see them. What's really interesting is that we've determined that these quartz veins transect the contact between 2 rock types or lithologies, so rhyolite and sediment. So at the contact of the two, there's been some brecciation, there's been some fluids that have come up and deposited these quartz veins. Sometimes they're quite large, and you can see it on the top picture. Sometimes it's just stockwork and like millimeter wide quartz veins, but they all carry gold. So our approach has been, our low-cost methodology has been to sample these quartz veins, and we took over 5,000 different samples at the Lynx Gold Zone and then drill them. We drilled that preliminary 2,000 meters of drilling in 2021. That's where we made the discovery of 5 grams per ton over 50 meters. And then last year, we did another 10,000 meters, and we just completed 3,500 meters. Every time we kind of try to diversify or hone into our model and try to test our model and make sure that we have the right methodology to move forward. So far, so good. You can see some of the grades that we have there, 30 grams per ton over 3 meters. I mean, these are mineable widths and really interesting grades. So in what we found as well is, and in our modeling, and when we transect it and we look at a cross section, and this, what you see at the bottom right is a 3D model, the mineralization appears to occur in these high-grade chutes that are dipping about 45 degrees within a lower grade envelope. So, which is really interesting for us, but also means that sometimes you're drilling high grade, sometimes you're drilling low grade. So how do you figure out where these chutes are going? So we'll do more drilling. We just completed, as I mentioned, 3,500 meters this summer. And what we're finding is that we are able to expand these chutes and show their down dip extension as well. So if I go back to this model, we only drilled to about 100 meters. So we've defined an area which is 750 meters along strike, 75 meters wide, and 100 meters deep. So of course, everybody said, you need to drill some more. You need to figure out how deep this thing goes. We don't want to, throw the baby with the bathwater. So as we develop the model, we are better able to target our drilling. And so this year, the 3,500 meters that we did was really to try and show that it goes deeper than 100 meters and try to fill in the gaps between these chutes. So interestingly enough, we drilled 24 holes. Half of them hit VG. Some of them hit VG at depth. What we've noticed is that the deeper down we go, the more sulfides we get and the bigger grains of visible gold we got. So there seems to be an association where the higher grade chutes are associated with sulfides at depth. So again, this idea and this correlation with Fosterville, where there is potentially a kilometer extension possibility, kilometer kind of depth extension possibility here with higher grades at depth, but we don't know yet. Still early days. So we just had some release the first 11 holes last Thursday. Great returns. We have continuity of mineralization. So hole 125 intersected 15 different quartz veins. So again, the gold is always in these quartz veins. All holes intersected quartz. Sometimes the gold was nominal, so 0.1% or sometimes 47 grams per ton gold. So a whole gamut and variety of mineralization and gold grades, but perhaps it's because we're at the edge of the chute. So we don't know, depending on how we're orientating our drilling, we think that there's an opportunity to go after those higher grade cores. But at the same time, that poses a little bit of a challenge. And as I mentioned to you before, we'll need to do hundreds of thousands of drilling to try and figure out exactly where that high-grade mineralization is. So to kind of flip that and not to do that and try to advance this project a little bit quicker, as I mentioned to you, we applied for a bulk sample because we believe that by doing a 4,000-ton bulk sample in this area, in the Lynx Gold Zone, we'll be able to get a better representation of what the grade is. And we think that Lynx right now, when we look at we tried to compile all of the grades that we've had from all of these quartz veins. It sits at about 5 grams per ton gold. So we'll see. Maybe overall we'll be happy with 1 or 2 grams per ton gold, but again, early days, but this is looking like it has a lot of potential, lots of opportunities for us to really build volume here at Lynx. But as I mentioned to you, we have lots of other opportunities here. There's an extension that we've seen at Lynx that extends about 4 kilometers. We've already identified an area called the Tiger Gold Zone. The Tiger Gold Zone has been stripped. It's only been grab sampled. It's returned 5 grams per ton gold. The thought is that it gets drilled next. So probably a preliminary 2,000 meter drilling program at Tiger. But what will that mean is that we now have a extent that is probably a 4 kilometer extent of mineralization along this Lynx gold trend. And the significance also of finding this Tiger zone is, again, we sampled, we have gold at surface, we're gonna drill, it's probably gonna continue on at depth. And then also what Lynx gives us an opportunity to do is from Lynx, we can target our drilling to intersect the chutes from Tiger, we can drill and intersect the chutes at Lynx. As you can see, they dip 45 degrees. So if we go in the opposite direction, then we can show the down depth extension of mineralization at Lynx. So again, potential for something that's quite voluminous at Lynx. But we have other zones. We have the Jaguar Gold Zone, which is 4 kilometers away, where we've only done surface sampling and stripping. So this has not been drilled yet. Then we have Cougar, where we've only done some trenching. So that's not even stripped a lot. But you can see some of the grades that we get there, quite high. Some operators have done some previous drilling at this area as well, returned some good grades in terms of their drilling, but we haven't done any drilling. So we always have spots within the property that are at different stages of development. So our key really is to demonstrate scale, volume, and then grade, and this is what is going to be our focus moving forward. Our share structure, we have 137 million shares outstanding, 165 million fully diluted. Crescat is our big fund institutional investor opportunity. As Kevin said, if he's putting 13% in most of the company, there's lots of opportunities for Crescat to come in and put some more money into Puma. Early days again, but we're really excited about what's coming. And we have about all of these visible gold intersects that we drilled this summer have yet to be reported. So that's probably going to come out in the next couple of weeks. Thank you.